Welcome to the Best Known Church Show, where we show you how to 10x your reach with church marketing that will help you increase your impact, make more disciples, and become the cornerstone of your community again. This is for the leaders with an outrageous vision, because anything less would be an inaccurate reflection of our Creator. The ones who have unreasonable faith, because you know God works unreasonable miracles. And the ones who are relentless in the pursuit of your calling, because anything less would not make a good and faithful servant. If that's you, you're in the right place. Now, please welcome your host and guide on this journey to become the best known organization in your community, Justin Nava.
Welcome to the Best Known Church Show. My name is Justin Nava, and if we haven't met, I take full responsibility for that. In this show, we're going to share some strategies, some tips, some helpful things to do to make your church known, because if you're like me, I believe your church, the local church, could make a greater impact in your community if more people just knew you existed. When someone feels the pull of God on their life, they should know your church. When they feel like there needs to be a change in their life, when they have kids, when they get married, when they get divorced, and they're like, hey, I need church, and they don't know anyone, and they ask friends and family, your church should be on their lips. And God forbid they don't have anyone. They're completely alone. And they're like, something needs to happen. I need some help. And they go to Pastor Google. Your church should be there. And that's exactly what we're going to share today. The outrageously simple way to increase church guests. I don't want transfers from other churches. This isn't an organ donor situation. Okay. I want the kingdom to expand. I want to work with God in that. And that's why today I'm unveiling, let me get zoomed in here. That's why today I'm unveiling the new marketing method that we are using. It is an update. If you go, by the way, this is episode 75. Can you believe that? Episode 75. We have been teaching on this show the definitive church marketing method, starting with becoming clear on who you are, and then becoming easily found online when people are searching, and then going out and finding people. Instead of waiting for them to come to you, you go to them. Or in other words, going to do ministry and meeting people where they are online. So if you're watching this on YouTube, smash that like button like you smashed the potato salad at the church potluck. If you're watching on Facebook, like the post, share the post, send it in a message or DM to a fellow pastor or maybe your pastor. And if you're watching on X, I don't know if you can do anything. Come watch this on YouTube or Facebook, and come join the conversation. If you are watching this, whether you're watching it live or later on, leave a comment on if you want more people. Is your church ready to receive more people? And how many people? Right? Sometimes the strategy to get an extra 5 people is different from a strategy to get extra 50. Sometimes if you need 5 people in 4 weeks, it's different than if you want 50 people in 12 months. So what I'm going to share with you today is a long-term strategy. Okay. There's nothing more scary in ministry than short-term solutions. Meaning, if you're just seeking short-term solutions, guess what you're going to have? Short-term results. And that's where you get things like helicopter egg drops. You get things like giving away a car at service. You get things like a circus in the back of the church. Now, those things in and of themselves are not bad. But when it is, man, we need an injection of fresh blood. We need young folks coming in. What's going to get them in here? Well, guess what? If they come for the helicopter egg drop and you ain't doing it next week, if they come for the juggling clowns in the back and you ain't doing it next week, they may not come back next week. But if you say, we're going to build a community that helps and supports each other, we're going to support the single moms, we're going to feed the kids, we're going to make sure that people are fed, and I'm not talking about physical bread, that will definitely grow the church slower, but more steadily. And slow doesn't mean it's going to take 12 months to get one extra family in. No, I want consistent growth. That's the way the kingdom is built. Because if we just do something sexy for the community and then wonder why they don't come back, it's because they came, it's the people that followed Jesus just to eat something and then they left. So what I'm going to share with you today is the updated definitive church marketing method. And we're actually shifting it a little bit because this is so unique. I have an email this morning from someone that said, "Hey, you're a marketing agency. Thanks for helping us. Here's the list of what we need." And they basically gave me a to-do list. That's not what we do. That's not what gets results. And I haven't replied to the email, so I'm not going to speak too much about that. But what happens with a lot of churches is they think they know what they need and they go out and get it, and then they don't see results. I liken it to when I used to have headaches all the time. But and if you're just watching this now, I have lost about 160 pounds in the last 5 years. And before that, I used to have headaches a lot. In fact, back when was I in college? Might have been right after college. I've had bad headaches. And I would take Advil and the headache would go away. I would just deal with it, right? And then my doctor, I went to my doctor and he's like, "Yeah, you got high blood pressure." What? See, some people will have headaches like that and they'll go to the doctor and be like, "Doctor, you got to give me a stronger Advil. You got to give me a longer persisting Advil." And the doctor's like, "Nah, dude, you have high blood pressure. You need hydrochlorothiazide and amlodipine." So if I'm just sitting there saying, "This is what I need," guess what? Those headaches ain't going away. And not only that, if the doctor was just, "Nah, dude, just take these pills and be on your way," those headaches still wouldn't go away. I'd be stuck on the pills. Instead, I had to lose some weight. I had to get in shape. Now the headaches are a thing of the past. Now the only headache comes walking in on two legs. The kiddos, gotta love them. So what I'm sharing with you today is our unique method. This is not a special software. You can do this with any software. In fact, we're teaching it so you can do it in whatever software you already have. Now, if you work with us to do it, we obviously have our software, and you don't ever have to log into a software ever again if you work with us to do it. But it's not software dependent. It's also not you dependent. I don't want you going to GNC and spending buku bucks on a bunch of vitamins you think are going to work or you think you know is going to work because you saw a commercial somewhere. And then you're still in pain, you're still sick, you're still bleeding out because you're taking vitamins for what you need a medication and a health plan for. So this is not something that is just take two and see me in the morning. Okay. Notice the title. I was very specific in the title of this podcast. This is not an outrageously easy way to increase church guests. This is an outrageously simple way to increase church guests. And if you're a pastor listening to this, one of the things that you constantly struggle with, or maybe if you're just a good disciple that's always trying to preach the gospel, better than me probably, one of the hardest things about communication is making it simple. I don't remember who said it. Who said genius is making the complicated simple? Meaning we live in a world where people want to appear smarter than you, so you blindly follow them. So they use complicated words and they change the meaning of words. And now we have things like cisgender and I can't even think of any other examples, but it's like there used to be a word. It was just called straight. It was just called the way you are. Then they got to make up a word to try to make you believe a different ideology. No, keep it simple. And so many marketing agencies want to get real complicated. We're going to do this, and it's going to lead to this, and we're going to focus on KPIs and CPCs. That's not what this is. This is simple. And what makes it simple with what I'm about to share with you today is that this is a step-by-step process. Now, this process used to be called the Definitive Church Marketing Method. I already have a training on it if you want to go deeper than what we're going to share today. But if you haven't gone through that training, stick around because I'm going to do a highlight. I don't want you to go through the training if you don't think that this will work for you, and you'll know in the next 30 minutes whether or not this will work for you. If you are ready for the training, you can go to bestknownchurch.com. There's a link down below in the description wherever you're watching. This is what we call now, we used to call it the Definitive Church Marketing Method. It's too long. It's too complicated. It's not necessarily about church marketing. I'm not happy with the new name either, but it's an apt description because everyone that follows this says they like it because it's our process. So we're calling it the Nava Method. This is the Nava Method that's helping churches triple their church guests in as little as 90 days. Let me get my face off of here so you can see it. Where's my screen share? There we go. This is the Nava Method. I don't think my screen's centered, but that's just going to have to do. This is the 3-step, or I should say 3-phase process that we use to help churches. Oh, cool. I can zoom in. Triple their guests in 90 days. Now, if you go out and do it, I'm not going to lie to you, dude. If you go out and do this yourself, it's going to take a little bit longer than 90 days. That's going to take a lot longer than 90 days. Let me see. If I shrink this, yeah, there we go. Cool. All right, now it's in the square. If you do it yourself, it's going to take about 9 months, probably 1 month per step. When we implement it for churches, we can get it done in 90 days because we have a bunch of professionals. We know what you're doing. We do this all the time. This is what it is. And the reason I say this is simple is because you look at, if you are to self-diagnose what you need as a church to help get your church known, to help bring more people to church, you're going to look at all of this and say, where do I start? What do I do? What is this? How many newsletters do I need to send? How many times do I need to post on social media? How many books do I need to read? How much of Gary Vee's advice do I need to have? Carrie says to do this. Francis does this. David does this. What am I supposed to do? The church down the street is doing this. It is extremely complicated. I'm going to dumb it down for you right here. And I pulled up an old, darn it, I pulled up an old graphic. Let me pull up the new one. Where's the new one? Here we go. Boom. That was version 1. This is version 1.1. It's even simpler. And it's a 3-phase process. I'm going to walk through the phases. If you want a deeper look into this, you can go to bestknownchurch.com, and that will forward you to our Facebook page where the training is. It's in our Facebook group. Okay. This is what we call the Nava Method. I'm the most humble man. I'm the most humble man. There's actually a story. I'll share the story about where the name came from. Maybe later. So this is a 3-phase process to bring people to your church. And without even trying, take this step by step, you will triple your church guests. All right, so let me get into it. Can I zoom in now? Awesome. So it's in 3 phases. Be memorable, be found, be known. And I'm actually going to highlight how important this is and how simple this is, because this is a step-by-step process. You cannot skip a step, because look, the last phase is be known. You cannot be known if you cannot be found. If people can't find you, they can't know you. But if you're going to be found, what's the use of being found if they're going to forget about you? If they're going to find you and forget about you, did they ever find you at all? So you realize, you see here, you have to be memorable. These stack on top of each other. You are building a pyramid. You cannot build a pyramid upside down. It will topple eventually. And that's what so many churches are hurting with right now, is because they're trying to build their own pyramid and they're taking puzzle pieces that don't fit together, or they're doing things like they're trying to run before they can walk. So what makes this simple is it's step by step. Do not move on until you've completed the previous step. All right. So what's the first step? The first phase is called be memorable, because again, if people find you, if people hear about you, if people see you, but they don't remember you, what's that verse in James? Don't look in the mirror and then walk away and forget what you saw. Remember it. So we want our church to be memorable. God always made himself known. And people remembered who he was. People remembered when they interacted with him. So the first thing you have to do is have a memorable message. In business, we might call this copywriting. We might call it could also be called branding. Okay. But we got that kind of down here. Craft a memorable message that your city can't ignore. Because people don't go to your church because of what time it meets at. People don't go to church because of its location, right? I've got 3 churches around me before I hit my grocery store, and my grocery store is pretty close. Technically 4 churches. So how are people going to remember you? You have to have a memorable message. What are you going to say that sticks with them? Okay. And this is the part where people get very frustrated with me because I can see the live stream views going down. It's not sexy. No, I want a website that does this. I want this automation that does this for me. None of that matters if people don't remember you. Otherwise, you got to go into super salesy mode and you got to constantly be bothering people, which I don't have a problem with, but I'd rather you have a memorable message. And when people hear about you one time, they don't forget about you. What does that memorable message look like? Real simple. Addressing a felt need, positioning your church to answer that need, and then what's the result afterwards? Okay. We understand that often it feels like someone has a boot on your neck, and no matter what you do, you can't move ahead. But at Full Deliverance Baptist Church, we believe that God can heal anything, no matter who you are or where you come from, so that you can live and love better. Okay. It's a little wordy, but we can use that to craft a message that says, hey, this church, they're going to show me how to live better through Jesus Christ. Yes. The second step is sticky branding. You want to have something that people will remember. A lot of church logos, a lot of churches don't have a color palette. A lot of churches don't have assets that are consistent. And so when people see you, they forget you. And when they see you again, your logo is too complicated. You're using a different set of color palettes. You're using different whatevers. You're not communicating consistently. You're speaking English at one service and Spanish in the next. Or you're speaking Southern English in one service and proper British English in the next. It doesn't work out that way. You have to be consistent. And not only that, they have to be able to remember it too. So you're aurally, like audio, aurally memorable when they hear about your message, but then you're visually memorable as well. So when they see you serving in the park and they see your church sign close to their house, they connect the two. That's why people don't even remember the church that's right across the street, because they're blind to it. That's why they don't remember your church when they hear about you, because you're not memorable. And then the last part of being memorable, and by the way, I hate this step. I hate this so much, but this is one of the foundations, is you have to have an irresistible social media presence. Okay. You need to have an engaging social media presence that sparks discipleship opportunities. You don't have to be everywhere on social. Pick one platform. Facebook's great. Instagram's great. Just be in one place. Okay. Be active or engaging in one place. Okay. And then it has to be something that sparks discipleship opportunities. This isn't somewhere where you're just posting posts, Bible verses, and live streams. Like, those are great, but it needs to be something that's a give and take. You have to get responses. You have to spark curiosity. You have to get engagement. You have to share truths. And along with that, you have to make it part of your message. So if you're going to talk about health and healing, your social media has to be talking about health and healing. Okay. Guess what? Healthy people that have conquered unhealthiness through Jesus Christ, they'll follow that. The people that are healthy and not hurting, your church, can they serve them anyways? There's probably another church that's better equipped to serve them. Step 4, now we get into be found. So when someone hears about your church, when someone wants to go to church, or when someone's searching for something that your church does, like a food pantry, you should be found. Because people will go to who they know first. That's be memorable. Then they'll go to who their friends and family know. That's also be memorable. Then they'll go to who Google knows. That's be found. And by the way, be known, the last phase is all about you going to them before they even realize they need you. And you help them see how Jesus can help them now. So here we go. Be found. And this actually starts with figuring out what your digital hospitality is going to be. How are you going to start relationships with guests before they first visit? And yes, that is possible. When someone comes to your website, when someone comes to your social media, how can you connect with them? Not only that, how can you follow up with them without relying on them coming to church? So when they come to church, it's not your first time interacting with them. They see you and you see them and you're like, dude, we've already talked. We've already prayed with each other over the DM. We've already talked on the phone. We've already grabbed some coffee. What is the first step you want people to take? And then what is the follow-up? So for example, one of the things we like to do are ebooks or prayer guides that provide a resource for someone that has questions. And when they download that, we email it to them. And then we also follow up with them. What did you think about it? Have you ever considered what Jesus has for you in this moment? Are you following us on social media? I'm talking about this weekend. Will you come and join us in church? We talk about it, right? How are you going to nurture someone into a next step, which then goes into a nurturing website? The website hosts that, but you gotta know what you're gonna say before you build the website. And that's just like anyone else. Okay. This isn't what do I call it? What would we call it? This isn't the first time you've ever heard something like this. Okay. It's a website. It looks good. It accurately reflects your church and it nurtures people to take that first step so you can then be digitally hospitable to them. Okay. But your website is useless if you don't show it on Google. Okay. If it's not found on Google, because people aren't going to be typing in Rockville United Church.com. They're not. They're going to go to Google and they're going to search, what was that church? United Church. And then they get United Methodist Church, United Community Church, Church in United, Tennessee. And it's like, oh, okay, whatever. So when people are just, or they might even just say, I don't remember the church, church near me. Right, which a small town of about 75,000 people will get about 1,000 searches a month. Church near me. So you want to show up on Google, but not only that, you want to show up first. You want to show up in that top places part where there's only 3 churches that'll show up, but they dominate about 50% of the search traffic, meaning 50% of people will click on those first 3 results. So you got to at least be there. Meaning, if you got a great, beautiful website, but you're not in that top 3 spot, you don't exist to half the people searching for a church. So you got to show up there. So again, break right here. I know I'm going faster, but that's because you cannot move on until you have each one of these. Do you have a memorable message? Do you have sticky branding? Do you have an irresistible social media presence? If not, start there. Don't go to your website just yet. Then do you have a way to nurture people before they step foot in the building? Do you have a nurturing website or a perfect website? Are you top of Google? If not, focus on this first. Then we can go to be known, which is all about making your church known to people who didn't even know they didn't know you. If you just rely on this, number one, your word of mouth is only going to reach so many people because your church has a circle. Your church doesn't know everyone in town. So even if your people invited every single person that they know in town, what are they going to reach? 5% of the population? Word of mouth is only so good. And if you stack that on top of Be Found, well, now you're going to get some more traffic, but there are still people who have hurt and have needs that they don't even realize the church can help with. They don't even realize Jesus can help with it. So you can be known and actually go out and reach these people. And yeah, you could start with this. There are agencies that just do this. I will tell you this right now. They do a lot of this work beforehand, or they only work with churches that have done all this work. Okay. And we'll sometimes we'll just be like, hey, yeah, let's just do the Google ad grant, but we got to do a lot of previous stuff too. And if you don't, and they take your money, you're not going to see very many results. And I hear from those clients too. So for part of Be Known, Okay. Before you reach out, I want you to reach in. And that's what we call a reach back campaign. And that's reconnecting with everyone you've served in the past and bring them back to church. Meaning, if your church has been around for 50 years and you've got 300 people in service, let's go even smaller. You got 100 people in service, but you've got 400 on roll. You should be reaching back to those 300 people, praying for them, inviting them to service, inviting them to an event. Don't ask them for money. But you should be reaching back and reconnecting with them. Why? Number one, it tests your messaging, which you did all the way back here. Number two, it tests your website to make sure that you got everything set up properly. And number three, start with the lowest. What's wrong with starting with the lowest hanging fruit? Start with the lowest hanging fruit. Reach the people that have already connected with you in the past. Number one, you'll bring them back. Number two, you'll update your role because they're no longer interested. Number three, you'll find out why they left. And we have some automations that do this, so you're not sitting there texting all day, Pastor. Then you want to move on to free Google ads. That's the Google Ad Grant. And then I don't like tackling these at the same time, but I'm going to explain them both at the same time. You have Google ads and Facebook ads. Okay. There are other things out there. There's TikTok ads, there's display ads, all that good stuff. Okay. Google ads are user-based ads, meaning these ads will show up when someone initiates the search. So if I search for a church online, I can tell Google, hey, show up my church when people are searching. They are taking the first step. Facebook ads are great because I get to take the first step. I get to say, Facebook, everyone in my area between the ages of 25 and 35 that are women with children, I want you to show this ad to them. And then while they're scrolling, they see your ad. You took the first step. You see the difference? One is user-based intent. The other is organization-based intent. So I like to start with the free Google ads because they're free. And you can just start showing up for people when they're searching for, obviously, churches, but also counseling opportunities, kids camp for VBS, free backpacks. You're going to get a lot of people searching for free stuff. Just make sure you have hospitality planned. Then once you've got that, which, by the way, you can get for free with the Google Ad Grant, you can go on my YouTube channel to find more videos on that. After that, then you can move to Facebook ads. Then you can, and you don't need a whole bunch. You just need one good one. And you just run it all the time. It's like a billboard. It's just up there bringing people to church. But this one doesn't just bring people to church where people drive past the billboard and you're like, oh man, I hope they saw our ad. I hope they saw our billboard. No. This is where people can click on it, give you their information, start a direct message with you, get prayer, get to know you, invite them out for coffee. This is discipleship-focused advertising. This is you finding people to open the door. You're basically knocking on doors saying, hey, can I pray for you? But you're doing it at scale. And you're doing it in a way that keeps the conversation going. You can't have a conversation through a billboard. You can with a Facebook ad. So that's in a grand thing. Okay. Simple. Get your messaging done. Be memorable. Get your branding done. Then get your online presence to be easily found. And then you can go out and reach new people. This is the simple way. Because it's simple because you're only doing one thing at a time. Don't do a whole bunch of stuff at a time. Number one, it's going to be very expensive, very time consuming. And when one thing breaks, everything else breaks. One step at a time. That is how you bring people to church. Because you're working intentionally, step by step. By the time they find you, they're going to remember you. By the time you find them, they're going to remember you. They're going to know why they should connect with you. So, again, to get more details on this, go to bestknownchurch.com. I'm going to give you training on the exact steps within each of those steps to take to make sure you have the assets you need, the steps you need to take, the order you need to take them in. And you can know exactly what to do. And then from there, if we get more interest, I will do an in-depth. I will do what I just did. Actually, not even what I just did. I will do that training on individual steps. So people can kind of like walk through and like literally do it on their own over the shoulder. But I want to make sure there's interest. So go to bestknownchurch.com. That'll send you to our Facebook group. If you're just on Facebook, just search Be the Best Known Church. That's the name of the group. If you want to work with me, you can go to navachurchmarketing.com or leave a comment below. We'll connect. Thank you all for watching. Remember, hit the like button, hit subscribe. No one's teaching this, and this is why a lot of churches remain unknown, because they're just trying random tactics, and there's nothing intentional about what they're trying. So I want you to help me spread the word there. Thank you all for listening. God bless, and I'll see you all next week.
That's going to do it for today's episode of the Best Known Church Show with Justin Nava. Be sure to subscribe to stay updated on the latest news, strategies, and resources that you need to reach 10x more people and become the best known in your community. To send us a message or leave a voicemail for Justin to be played on a future show, visit thebestknownchurchshow.com. And if you'd like to work with us so you can focus on your ministry, give us a call at 832-861-7654. Until next time, stay outrageous, unreasonable, and relentless.